calamity maximum now. Look by your jaws front, always come up. Let me tell you in the front, no we get up, stand up, where you run for. I told me who did stand up, so. Girl, you know you put it print down. I did the girl in the body rider, my God. Girl, you know you put it print down. I did the girl in the body rider, where you run for. I told me who did stand up, me who stand up. Half of the fat girl, let me who stand up. Half of the slim girl, let me who stand up. Say let me know you China, but me who stand up. So me say that me not up. So they put the printer, that's why me who stand up. So, girl, you know you put the printer. I did the girl in the body rider, by far. Girl, you know they put the printer. I did the girl in the body rider, big it up. Girl, because you fat till you up. England, girl, you mean I put the printer, so big it up. Girl, because you fat till you up. American, girl, you mean I put the printer, big it up. Girl, because you fat till you up. Canadian, girl, in I put the printer, big it up. Girl, because you fat till you up. Jamaican, girl, Rambo one rub. So them say, so they can look at the woman and go lamb, so. Girl, you know you put the printer. I did the girl in the body rider, by far. Girl, you know they put the printer. I did the girl in the body rider, by far. Girl, you know they put the printer. I did the girl in the body rider, by far. Girl, you in the front of the car. That's why you make her. She want to war by far. Yeah, I'm the man not so spar. That's why you make her. She want to war. On the bike, yeah, I'm the man not so spar. That's why you make her. She want to war. Why you are out, that mean you gone far. Girl, that mean you end up with the superstar. So, girl, you know you put the printer. I did the girl in the body rider, by far. Girl, you know you put the printer. I did the girl in the body rider, so big it up. Girl, because you fat till the boat. 10 pound of gravity maximum now. Look by your jaws front, always up up. Let me tell you in the front, now we get us stand up, and where you run for. I told me who did stand up, so. Girl, you know they put the printer. I did the girl in the body rider, by far.
Yes,
Girl, you know the
back Thursday over there. This is by the one and only Panhead. This goes by the name Pony Prince. I hope you are doing great this wonderful Thursday. It is a throwback. We like to call it TBT, as you get to request your favorite amazing jam songs that you get to you did get to listen, at your age, because I do know that most of you, do not relate with the gengeton. I can see in the like of Kay Williams, I can say in the likes of Keith, and just trying to relate with some music, maybe the ones you are listening to when you guys were in your youths, or maybe whichever age you are. I don't know how many of you are fans of reggae, but remember yesterday when we were discussing about the entertainment industry, we were speaking of our reggae. Most of it is classified as, it could be like a tag type of music, or if you are, a reggae listener, you are poor, all sorts of, myths and misconceptions. But we're going to be discussing more of that, and as we get to listen to some more of these amazing jams right here on the Pan-African Bliss. Karibuni sana. This is the Black Hot Fire Radio, media for the 21st century, at 3 minutes past 12 p.m. right here in the 254. I don't know about you, but I want to appreciate you for joining us this particular day, it being the 3rd of February, the year 2022. I do hope that this year is driving you amazing, or rather this particular month is coming unto you very amazing, as you had looked forward unto it, and you are achieving and manifesting everything that you really want to achieve before the end of this particular month, rather before the end of this particular year. Actually, I woke up today and I was like, whoa, time is really running so fast, like so super fast. Just the other day we came from Tanzania. Right now we're almost like 3 weeks down. I was like almost say 3 weeks in Nairobi. It's almost 3 weeks, or rather I can say it's almost a month since we came back, and the time is really running so fast. So if you have something that you want to do before the end of this particular period, kindly do prioritize whatever you want to do and work on it and do it. And I do believe that the universe will not disappoint you, neither will God disappoint you. But karibuni sana once again. My name is Joby. Do interact with us. We are on Facebook, on Twitter, and also on Instagram. And because we can also check us out officially on our website, that is on www.blackhotfirenetwork.com. Once you log onto the website, feel free to create your own profile and get to enjoy these amazing vibes, get to share your thoughts, rather anything that you come across that we are all about right here on the Black Hot Fire Network. You can also support us through the cash app, that is through Mr. Blackout Fine Network. We appreciate you for being with us since last year, actually, since I joined. It's almost a year actually right now since I joined the Blackout Fine Network, and I'm just so proud to be part of this, and I'm so so I can just say so blessed, and I'm so happy to be so part of this. I've learned so much in that particular period, and every day it's like an awakening. Still, you don't believe that we've grown in all these lives, but I'm just so glad to be part of this and to be educated, rather for us educating each other about what we really need to know about the African history, about we ourselves, the African science, and everything that we can cover up. And as we get to solve the solution about the effects, or some of the things that are happening across the African continent. My name is Joby once again. I want more of these amazing jams, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this particular one. This by the one and only Buju Banton. It was done 2 years ago, and this speaks of trust issues. Like, how many of us have trust issues? I don't know if you have trust issues, but for me, I think I have trust issues because trust. It comes to a point where people want to take advantage of how good you are. People want to take advantage of how kind you are. I've experienced all that, and I've said that this year, Manze, I don't want to be kind anymore. I'm gonna be as cruel as I can. I'm gonna be as selfish as I can to the people who do not really deserve my energy. Because I think, and I've said, I don't know, many of you also feel the same, where we've served, rather given too much than we really not supposed to, and we've received nothing but the less. For me, I think I've given too much. I've been too kind to people, and I've seen people taking advantage of that. So for me, I have trust issues. Like, I really have trust issues. So this is by the one and only Buju Banton. I hope that you get to enjoy this particular one, playing right here on the Black Out Fire Radio Media for the 21st century. When I come back, I have an African trivia question, and I do also have some African proverbs coming all the way from Ghana. Yesterday we were checking about the African legends history, and we did get to check most of them. We also did get to see that we also had like an African Ghana Empire. I did speak of the Mali Empire. We had so many kingdoms that were ruling the African continent. But since the Mzungu came in, I was really surprised with the story of Ashiko, the story that Kate was telling about this particular lady. What is the name? I've really forgotten. But once I remember, I'll get you enlightened. So let me take a short musical break. Then I'll be back after this short break.
New style, new flow, me a tell them. Damn fucking right. Me no trust phone, me no own, me no like it. Picture I go round, say Simone, I'm a wifey. Be a fuzzy picture, we suggest me a knifey. Alone on Instagram, I fuck with me psyche. Me no trust man, we switch down for your Nike. 6 months in general, I know him say I'm Mikey. Can't trust no man, we claim them as strikey. And them in a video when I show people. Them we send your own, them we send your own. This whole girlfriend, them me, I tell you about too. Them we send your own, them we send your own. I know for them a return code. So for me, be careful who you send vice no to. Watch who you want to come what you talking about to. So nobody not doing nobody else road. Them in a group chat, so your thing a leak out to. Them see a man when things happen, them a glow to. Stop your in your back and let them come and take out to. Say you never them cause I know that them a promote. Not that wrong phone, no for them have remote. I record you, cause I was in the same boat. I get a life in general, don't real good show. Your face and your friend now go run them out. Wait till them end up in a federal court. Me no trust phone, me no own, me no like it. Picture I go round, say Simone, I'm a wifey. Be a fuzzy picture, we suggest me a knifey. Alone on Instagram, I fuck with me psyche. Me no trust man, we switch down for your Nike. 6 months in general, I know him say I'm Mikey. Can't trust no man, we claim them as strikey. And them in a video when I show people. Them we send your own, them we send your This whole girlfriends, them me I tell you about you. Them we send you out, them we send you out. Can no for them a return code. So for me, can't just somebody they will let down your secret. Don't lend them your things and we kill you if you keep it.
Yes, we're speaking about trust issues, and I was just saying, how many of you have trust issues? Because for me, I think I have trust issues, and it is so bad. But I hope you are doing great this wonderful morning. I can see Kit in the building, early and very sharp. Good morning, Mr. Black on Fire.
Morning. How you doing, Joby?
I'm good. What about you?
A little tired, but I'm all right.
You look sad. Why do you look sad?
Oh no, I'm not sad. I just I'm not sad. I was just trying to go to sleep, and I seen you guys went live. I did a show late last night, and no, I'm not sad.
All right. Okay. But before we get to the matters of the day, I have some African.
You weren't ever looking sad on that 254 show yesterday, like you lost your best friend or something.
I barely have friends, so I can't say that I lost it. I barely have friends to count.
All right. Yeah, I heard you say about that. Let me say something. I heard you say about that lady. Katie just said exactly. I never heard that lady before. That Kenyan lady was amazing. That lady was amazing. She was fighting the British, and I bet she wasn't a Christian because she didn't accept it. Because they came into Africa trying to rule over African people. But it was that woman. That woman walked all the way from one part of Kenya to the next. Wow, that is.
I know, right?
That is impressive.
I also didn't know about much. I also didn't know much about the history, and when she was explaining like how she like prophesied about the British people coming into Africa and trying to come and like destroy the resources, rather take away our resources. I wanted to ask, like, at that period, like, didn't we have? If she could see the danger coming, like, why didn't we? She was one of the people who are trying to like escape our from slavery. Sorry?
Well, you were attached to a lot of your history. Then the African was more attached to what was real. But they probably didn't ever still believe that people would invade them because that never happened before. So they probably still could not understand being invaded on such a level. And told the African mind, Joe, can't conceive people being as evil as white people. They couldn't really see that. African people are loving. They invite you in. How you doing? African people don't realize people come to dominate you, take over what you got, steal it, take it, control you, kill you. But African people, oh, hey, come on in. Mi casa, su casa. Whatever I got, you got. You don't understand? They're not coming to share what you got. They're coming to take what you have. That's why they're there.
One thing that I want to understand is that at that time when they were coming, because I believe for the Europeans rather than Zungu, they had the guns, they had like the proper weapons to come attack Africans. Why didn't we have also the same? Because if we claim all the materials, all the resources come from Africa.
You had the skills. You were going to sleep. You were in the sleep period. So even though it was the African that created the gun, the African didn't create the gun to kill people. It was called the pot stick. They use it for celebrating the Moors, the black Moors. Let me see images of the Moors. Let me use my images right here. Moors images. They used it as just celebratory. They were already ruling over white people, so they didn't ever think that white people were going to be smart enough. And I don't think the Moors understood them teaching these white people. They were going to take and develop. White people develop stuff. Black people don't think about mass murdering people. It's not our nature. And so when they were showing white people and teaching them in these schools in Europe, white people took this technology and they made it better. So when it came back into Africa, Africa didn't have that kind of technology. They just the spear. So didn't understand the guns and the mass weapons, that was also allowed them to get into Africa. European was never able to penetrate into Africa because they would always lose. Like, a white man can't beat a black man 1-on-1. He always loses. He's weak because he's genetically weaker. So he's genetically weaker. So wasn't nobody worshiping anybody white without the gun because the white man is genetically weaker than us as people. They can't fight us hand to hand. They lose. So,
Sure.
so let me see. Let me just go here real quick.
And I remember when I was giving like the Mali Empire history. I remember Spikes mentioning like the first university was founded in Mali. So at that time,
Actually,
African people, we knew how to read and write. We knew how to read and write.
actually not. No,
Were we
actually,
studying the African science?
actually, way before that, Joe. But that's not. That's Spike's talking about the Mali colleges in 900 something. There wasn't no colleges in Europe yet. The colleges came from us. No, colleges go back way before 900. Mm-hmm. Colleges in Africa go back 6,000 to 7,000 years. Not no 900 AD as Spikes thinks. No, colleges go back thousands of years in Africa. That was the one of the modern ones. But no, they were when the Africans moved into Europe, they built was like 18 universities. Got the Sankofa, Cordoba, Salamanca, and that was about 800 AD. That was before 900, but yeah, yes, Joe, it was your sign. Nobody believed in the white Jesus shit is new. I keep telling you, that's a new thing they gave you. Yeah, Africa was into real science, African science. So when you see all these spiritual systems, they're science, right? The bastardized science, the Buddha. The original Buddha was a Christ. That's why those teachings were taken to Asians by Africans to teach the Asians. Mm-hmm. And it was and our science is spiritual and science. White man is detached. He can only use the left brain, which is masculine. We use both brains. You got to have the feminine side of your brain, the right brain. It's intuitive. You got to connect both brains. So spiritual and science put together becomes spirituality. White men only can use the left side of their brain because the pineal gland is calcified, and with that, your science is lacking because you believe white man looks at things and doesn't know, but he does now because his technology's got better. That what you can't see exists. African always knew just because you couldn't see it in your view. That just means your vibration was different. But there's things in front of me right now, Toby, that I can't see that fucking exist. African knew that. Just I'm on this vibration, this frequency. It's like I said, I was trying to get easy analogy, like a radio station. If you turn a radio station, you know that a radio station is still there, but you're not on the frequency, right? When you turn to a radio station, turn to 97 point whatever that station is, you hear that station. But the other stations on there on the radio still exist, Joby. You just can't hear them because you're on the frequency of the station that you're listening to. That's how the universe is. We're on this frequency. I can't see into the next. So another frequency would be another dimension. African always knew there were other dimensions and things around that we could not see. And we call it like the spirit world. Not really a spirit world, just things on another vibration, another frequency. And if you raise your vibration, that frequency, you'll start to see shit in that frequency. Mm-hmm. People say ghost. I seen a ghost. Mm-hmm. That means you raise your vibration and you're able to look into that frequency, that reality, that dimensional reality. So the African always knew that. He always knew it was nothing spooky and scary. Now the Africans have made stupid. Oh, I'm scared of everything. Oh, is that evil? Is that bad? That's why that lady that Kate was talking about, she could see into other dimensions because there's no such thing as space and time, Joby. That's why she could see it coming. She access her right brain. The feminine side of your brain allows you to do all that. You can access space, things within space and time. And if you're only using one side of your brain, your male side of your brain, you can't do that. Male side thinks linear. Feminine side is creative. It's the creative, time traveling, all the creative spiritual parts of your brain is on your right side, your feminine side. But we live in a society that only access the left side because those people who rule the world are only left brained. They're not both. And he all made you to be both, male and female. Brains have both all these attributes. You don't use them. You cut down your spiritual centers. And so as we were falling in vibration, that's what Kemet and Nubia was about, to relearn these things, build these big temples, how to merge both female and male energy. So when you get both energies working, that's when you can see into the future and do all these, when you can float and do all these miraculous things. But like I said, Katie just confirmed,
Mm-hmm.
even then, it was the black women throughout Africa that fought. Said it's funny how the black woman is now the most, mine is the most corrupt, but she was the one the mostly fighting. Said, oh no, hell no, no. So that's why they got the children. The black woman back then, I said the black woman was the one saying, hell no. I'm not gonna let these white people rule us. Are you crazy? Hell no.
Mm-hmm.
No. More so than the men. The black woman was
I
fighting all the
I remember, you know,
Go ahead, Joey.
mhm.
Go ahead.
The African history has been damaged because I remember there's a time you told me the women way before, the women were the ones who were allowed to choose a king. You know, they were the ones who could, like,
Yeah.
elect a king. They could choose who is supposed to be a king. That is the woman. But you see
You
today in
couldn't
the
rule.
African history,
You
even
couldn't
me,
rule.
since me growing up, I've known that other men of the African history has been made a woman to be, supposed to bow down. You're not supposed to have any word to say. You can't,
Yeah, that's
you're not
the European.
creative. The man is the creative. He's the
That's
spirit.
the,
He's
Euro-
the head of the
that's
house. He's the
the
one to make decisions.
That's the European way of thinking, because the European came in as what that. See, that lady that Katie talked about didn't grow up in that structure you're talking about. That's why she was taking control. She didn't grow up in the where you grew up. Africa's completely different now, Joby, since you got colonized. That lady didn't grow up under colonization, so it was never the woman going to be on the bottom. I told you, Africa never.
Mhm.
That wasn't African society to put the woman on the bottom. You got that now from the European. The European does that to his woman. So he gave that to the African, that your woman's on the bottom. No, you got to make your woman equal. Your woman can't be on the bottom, but that's what they brought, because you're dealing with a lower being, I want to say, because they're more animalistic, because they're animals. That's what animals do. You don't ever put the Africans never put their woman on the bottom. That's why you're Queen of Zinga. She ruled this lady in Kenya. That was African culture. But now it's been flipped upside down. You growing up in it, you think this was always that way. It's not. It wasn't that way. You didn't beat on your women, and the African woman supposed to shut up. That wasn't African. You couldn't rule without the African woman. And they knew the African woman had to be liberal. So spiritually they knew. Spiritually they knew, spiritually they knew. I'm talking like that's my boy right here. That's my favorite picture of one of the Moors, looking so regal. Spiritually, they knew.
Mhm.
Damn, they don't have my damn picture. Come on, there we go. Okay.
Keith, can you hear me? I think Keith froze, but I can see. Okay, I don't know. The name is kind of hard to pronounce, but Joel, you're saying that regarding the big ugali shots, apparently the French ensures refuse of Vax's death. But actually, that is what I really wanted to talk about. But I hope that Keith can hear me. I don't know if he can hear me. So I think he might be frozen. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me now?
It might have been me. Go ahead. Say regarding the big ugali shots, apparently France insurers refuse vax death payout. Court agrees deceased knowingly injected themselves. Yeah, knowingly injected themselves. Oh, can you hear
Can
me?
you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
can.
can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear. I can hear you then. I can hear
Oh,
you then.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. They're trying to say, yeah, exactly right. As exactly right, Jules. They're trying to blame you now. They forced you to do it. Now that you're dying, they don't want to pay the insurance cost. I'm saying, well, you chose it. Nobody chose to do it. You forced people to get it. See, that's how wicked these Europeans are. But like I said, our ancestors already knew they were wicked. So they're gonna try to murder us off before we start to wake back up. But anyway, Joe
People
Black.
are really people are really taking the ugali shots. Like today, I met people taking it in the morning. People are really going to die. Like seriously.
Then you can do. It's a soul test. Then you can do soul
Mhm.
test. If you don't, oh well. That's why I say these leaders are gonna have to be responsible because, like I said, it is what it is. Like, cause it just it is. It's sad. I told the African, the ignorance is not their fault. Because I can't blame African people because we've been put in such ignorance now. But I'm a, let me see if I can get this without my computer crashing again. Okay. Now, okay. Now this is a Moorish. Now these are the Moors that go into Europe and build Europe up. See if you see this, it's a well-dressed black man called a Moor. He's a Moorish chief, Moorish king. Black history.
Mhm.
It's the Moorish king who goes into Europe. So don't tell the lies of them telling you lived in huts and all this kind of. See how finely dressed this man is. These are the these are the men that go into Europe and conquer Europe and build universities and castles and all kind of wondrous things. And so they use African science. I don't agree that they should have taught the European all the African science. I don't agree with that because that's what they use now to rule the world. And the Africans it really knows nothing now. So this is the Moors. These are all Moors people down here, more like this. Yeah, more. So these are all the Moors, finely dressed men. What is this thing doing? What's this Pinterest? What's this thing doing? Just give me that. So this is a Moorish king, a Moorish chief.
Mhm.
So these are the men. He's part of the men that go into Europe. See, he doesn't look poor, does he? Does he look poor? No,
No.
he's not. Their horses were dressed better than the Europeans. But this is the history, and now they're trying to make these people white. Moor means black, literally. Just like I was arguing with the moronic Ethiopian Ethiopia meant black people. Didn't mean you're what you have white looking Ethiopians. Ethiopia meant black faced people. See, but I'm not gonna get into that. That's another story. About them not even wanting to be black. That's they kick. But anyway, yeah. So this science was taken into Europe. So these guys took the gun, Joby, into Europe. It's called the pop stick. These Africans. So these probably your last really great, brilliant African people. Brilliant. So, brilliant. These Moors were geniuses. These black men and women were geniuses. Geniuses, damn it. So they go into Europe building universities for the European. And so how African science works, let me get out of this. I want to see your face. Let me get out of that. How African science works, Joe. Let me explain this to you. African science works. The woman vibrates the highest, Joe. So you can't put your woman under your foot because you destroy your society. If your woman vibrates the highest, you want to make sure she's loved. She feels protected. She feels cared for. Because her being lively, that's why a woman's smile is so. Why a woman's smile can light up a room, Joby. You smile, you light up. When you smile, you light up a room. When a woman is feeling this, she vibrates that out to the universe, and the universe gets it and brings it back to the physical. Everything starts from the invisible and vibrates down to the physical, Joby. So if the black man knowing that if you made the woman that she vibrates the highest, felt loved and protected, that's why the black woman was always put on the pedestal. She was always put on the, put your woman, that's why your society's all messed. You always put the black woman on a pedestal. That was African culture. Because the African knew that the black woman, everything's about vibration, everything about energy, vibration, and frequency. If you made the black woman feel loved and protected, she would balance out society because that energy would come back on the earth and bring you utopia. Go ahead, Joe.
For me, I think it starts all at home because I think I've shared with you a couple of my stories and you can relate like how I grew up. You have someone who is a father who's supposed to teach you as a woman, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed
he really doesn't know that. He doesn't. You got to say the African man doesn't know anything anymore. So he doesn't really know how to teach you. He can teach you European culture. That's all he knows. He doesn't know African culture. Now he rejects African culture. The European came in, told him that everything black was bad, evil. Like when I got you, I said, Joey, were your ancestors bad? You said, yes. Like, what? Like what? That's what white people told you.
Because that's what we were told, yes.
Yes. That's what your father was taught too. And your grandfather, they were all taught these lies. That lady walking back and forth fighting for Kenyan, who's your ancestors, fighting back for you to be free. That lady's not evil.
True.
But that's what white people told you. If you knew, you go back in your history, you had great kingdoms. There's no evilness about you. You taught the world. The world didn't teach you. They came and indoctrinated you with lies. You taught the world the truth. You went out. If the black man and woman taught the world how to read and write, Joby, that came out of Africa. Didn't come out of Europe. Didn't come out of Asia. Came out of Africa. Science, mathematics comes out of Africa. You took that to the world. You took that to the world. Let me see it. So we got this Moorish guy here. So we got him as a Moorish king. So we got, let's go Moorish castles, right? These beautiful you took this science to the world. You was not, everything you've been told is a lie. This Moorish king here was the one teaching people how to read and write. He wasn't the one, nobody came and taught him. He was poor and starving and all this crazy stuff. This man took knowledge to the world, to the European. And right here, let me see images. Images of Moorish castles in Europe. Still there today. These Moorish castles right here. Let me go ahead one of these Moorish castles. One of these castles that they built. Boom. My computer don't freeze on me. Mess me up. Can you see my screen, Joby?
Yeah, I can see it.
See all these castles? These are built by Africans. Castle building that you think didn't come from Europe, came from Africa, and they brought it to Europe.
But we've grown up knowing that the castles only, we have only grown up seeing castles, especially let's say in the cartoon. So when you see a cartoon and a castle, the Disney animations, you have the mentality of you can only see this in the US or the
funny part about the Disney castle, that's a real castle. You see the Disney logo? That's a real castle, and it's a Moorish castle, Joby. It's Moorish. It's an African castle. See all this? See this says Moorish castle? These are all Moorish castles that Africans built. This technology came out of Africa. There were no castles in Europe, Joby. This technology came out of Africa. All this stuff. Africa. Of course, they're not going to tell you. They told you live in a dirty hut. That you was dumb and stupid when they found you. These are lies. That's why you're religious. They lied to you about everything. Just like when they made you worship fake white Jesus. These are all lies. Beautiful Moorish castles still in Spain. 10 most beautiful castles in Spain. Mm-hmm. When the Moors went into Spain, it wasn't called Spain. They named it Al-Andalus. African Al-Andalus means walking in the what? What, Joby? Walking in the what? Walking in the light, because they know your light beam. They named the country Al-Andalus. It's Spain now. After the white people took it back, they named it Spain. But it was called Al-Andalus, walking in the light, because you are a light beam. Another Moorish castle right there. See, these are all Moorish castles, Joe. Moorish castle, boom. Moorish castle, boom. But nice.
I never knew all my life that all this came from Africa. I just, I've never known. And especially with the Europeans have really messed our minds, especially with everything that is on our screen. You tend to see that the goodies you see, you think it is from the Mzungu, but the creativity came from an African person, but no one says that. No one knows that.
Yeah, because it came from you. You're an African person, came from your ancestors, came from you. This is science. They built this through using mathematics and science. Came out of Africa. All stuff comes from you. Comes from, boom. This guy, you, Joby, you, this man, boom. He just won African, one Moorish king. One. But there were millions. Boom. They go into Europe, they build castles, they build also schools. They start building these universities in Europe. This is how the European starts learning. The African goes and starts building colleges, universities. Because university meant the study of the universe, Joby. That's why it's called the university.
Were they being forced to go build them, or are they offering to go?
How could they be forced? They were the rulers. How could they be forced to do it? They were the rulers. They ruled. They were the rulers. How are they going to be forced? The Europeans were under them, Joe. They were the rulers. Mm-hmm. They ruled. Understand? They were the kings. They were the rulers, not the Europeans. How could they be forced to do anything? Understand, Joe, when I say you ruled the world, you ruled the Mzungu. The Mzungu couldn't rule you. He wasn't smart enough. He was dirty and poor. So when they got them, let me see. So, no. We mean, did they force? No, that's the African love. They said that European is ignorant. We got to teach him. He's dangerously ignorant. So they built these colleges. The university system you got today, Joby, and they share around the world, come from these guys, the Moors, coming out of Africa. Okay? They also built these Moors. Let's see images. They also, since the European was so dirty and filthy, they built a bunch of these.
I just still don't understand how we lost power then.
Huh?
I still just don't understand how we lost power.
I would
nothing to something.
I'll teach you. They lost power because the Moors start. These guys start. They knew they were going to sleep. They start fighting amongst each other, Joe. They start fighting. They start becoming more tribal, and so when the empire start breaking up because they were fighting one another. But they knew they were going to sleep. They the ones said, "We got to teach the European. If we don't, we know we're going to sleep, and we're going to become stupid. And if we don't teach him something, he'll kill us. He's a barbarian. He'll kill us before we wake back up." The Moors knew they were going to sleep. They knew they were going to become dumber, Joby. Hold on, let me see here. Moorish bathhouses in Europe. I said Moorish, my voice. Hold on. Here we go. I'm saying images. No. So, okay, so you still see my screen?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so these white people see all these baths. The Moors had to go make bathhouses, these intricate bathhouses in your ancient Moorish bathhouse. Boom, right there. Because the European was funky and stinky and dirty and full of disease. So the Moors built all these elaborate, beautiful bathhouses all throughout Europe, these beautiful structures, these bathhouses. So the European could wash his ass. He'd teach this white man how to wash his ass. All these beautiful, elaborate. Look at this one.
It's so pretty.
Yeah, you talking about
very well decorated.
Yeah, these are ancient bathhouses, Moorish bathhouse. See what it says Al-Andalus, Andalusia, Andalus. That's what they call Spain. Al-Andalus, walking in the light. Joby, another historical bathhouse. They built so many, built them all throughout Europe because the European was funky, dirty, stinky. He didn't wash his ass. When we say that, we mean that literally. That's a fact of history. It was the black people that taught them how to make soap, use soap, and wash your nasty ass. They didn't bathe, Joby. White people didn't bathe. So they built these bathhouses all over Europe. Ancient Moorish bath, another. See how beautiful? That's ancient, Joby. This is still today. These are all still up. See how beautiful that is, the architecture? Ancient Moorish bath. And this is Cordoba. Cordoba is one of the European. Huh? Go ahead.
I bet people pay a lot of money to go to these such places.
They might do today. I don't know. A lot of them probably museums. They get the see. Cordoba was one of the universities they built in that city. Cordoba, the University of Cordoba, created by the Moors. Andalusia, I told you, wasn't Spain. They say Spain today. Andalusia, which is Spain today, but they named the country Al-Andalus, walking in the light. So, let me get out of that. This history. So, oh yeah, you snowed in. It's snowing bad up there in Michigan, Michelle. Yeah.
But I agree with Joel. He's saying that yes, Africans can't be blamed for ignorance for they too were enslaved in their own land and under a new name, and after supposedly end of slavery, which was renamed as colonization. Yeah, I agree with you.
Colonization. Yeah, I said that.
Because the history, us learning the history, we were never taught like the same thing we keep on saying. We were never taught that the Africans tried to fight for, all this slavery, rather they were part of it. We were told it was the Mzungu. He came, in terms of, missionary, he left the Bible, and that was it. So he's a hero. We should see Mzungu as a hero.
That's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a lie. That's why you seen that when Katie brought that lady out fighting. They wasn't there to help us. They weren't there to help that. They weren't trying to imprison her. She's fighting her because they wanted to come to subjugate, steal, rob. That's why they're there today with all the big tea farms. Steal, rob. It never came. And I made the joke. Katie teach Joby's cousin that. It never came to help you. But they now through the wicked education system, you believe they came to help you, and then Zungu was saving you. You out your mind, African people. You out your mind.
The study. It is the study.
Out your mind.
Being given.
It came to help you, and no, it came to help you. Help you do what? All education came from you. It came to help you do
but
what?
most of the African people, do not really understand that.
Yeah, because your mind has been now colonized. Your mind, not just you, not physically colonized. Your mind. Once I got your mind, Joby, I got you. Tell me why you got these goofy judges wearing these wigs and shit, these goofy white wigs. Your mind is colonized, Joby. That's not just in Nigeria. I mean, in Kenya. That's in Nigeria, Ghana, Zimbabwe, South Africa. You got the goofy black man wearing the fucking wig. Your mind is gone. Yeah, you got a wig on your own head. You got a wig of white people's hair on your head. Then your mind just gone.
But I wanted to share a certain video here, which explains why the African history has always been viewed as a threat. You know, like most
Exactly.
of us even. Mhm.
If you know your history, Joe, you're not afraid. You're not worshiping them more. You say, I can't worship this Christ. I'm going to taught him. You're not going to worship him if your history is taught to you, Joe. If you know you taught him, you're like, oh, I must need the Mzungu to help me. The Mzungu is Jesus and God. You know what? You think those people I showed you all that shit, they worship any white people and thought the white man was God? Hell no. They were the one teaching the white people. So white people can't read and write. These black people thinking that they're God.
There's a border guy who was carrying me today, and on our way when I was coming to work, we saw, it was like, where I stayed, then just a short distance, someone I think had passed away. Then it was like, why do we have all these cars? I think this maybe a minister who has passed away here, but why do they have to come with all these cars while he's dead? And I was I told him, do you know when you die you come back? And he was like, what do you mean? Even stopped, even stopped. Like, I don't have so many details, but if you die as an African person, that is the African science. You'll still come back. And it was really shocked. Like,
because there's no such thing as death. If you don't vibrate high, when the body dies and the spirit is left out, the soul, there's a magnetic field around the earth. See, this is science. The African, there's no science anymore. See, the Moors knew all this shit. This when you was still smart. Now you're a child. You got a child like mine. Moors knew this. The ancient Kemites knew this. All ancient African societies knew this. This is the teaching of Buddhism. All these other teachings. It's really teaching of Christianity. They took that out the Bible. Oh, let me tell you that. What I'm teaching you was actually in Christianity, in the Bible. But the white man took it out because they said, oh, no, we can't control nobody if they don't think they die and go to. That's why I told you hell was made up. They made up hell later. All this stuff came later when they was making the religion. Because beginning of religion, they knew you died and came back. They said, oh, no, we got to take that shit out of here. We can't control some people if they're not afraid to die. And we can't control them if they're not afraid of hell. That's why you had the Pope come out and tell you hell don't exist. But because it doesn't. It was created. It's baloney.
Mm-hmm. But let me share this video. We get to see what they are explaining, because I did get to listen to it, and I think it is making some sense.
People are, no matter the geographical location, they've experienced some form of oppression, discrimination, or prejudice. This has been going on for quite some time. Some scholars have attempted to figure out why this is the case, and some have come up with some interesting explanations. From my studies, it seems as though Africans and their descendants across the globe historically have been viewed as some sort of threat. And so today, I wanted to talk about some of the potential reasons as to why this may be the case. Begin. This video should be taken lightly, because this will just be my personal opinion on the topic based on my own analysis of world history. Ultimately, there is no conclusive answer to this question, as we can't get into the minds of non-Africans. All I can do is highlight some patterns and draw some conjectural conclusions. Also, this video is not intended to be some sort of plea for empathy or acceptance from outside of the African diaspora. It's simply intended to be considered as a working model, showing how history evolved into what it is today as it concerns our current social, political, and economic condition as Afro-descended people. I really appreciated the perspectives you all gave in my last video.
You say the social, political values now of us being on the bottom. We're on the bottom now, from the top to the bottom. As a race of people, we're on the bottom.
And so I'm hoping that we can do the same. So let's begin. Despite questions concerning the reliability of Greek scholars and historians like Diodorus Siculus and Herodotus, their work highlights a very important narrative that did exist in ancient times. Whether their words about Africa were true or not, they expose what the common discourse was in ancient times amongst elites, an ancient commentary that influenced later periods. Some of the ancient narratives suggest the belief, or at least the consideration, that Africans were the first people and also that they were among the first civilized. Now, the
They're the
Ethiopians,
first civilized folks. Pause it. Yeah, Ethiopians, not the ones you see today. That's why I want to get on that Ethiopian. Ethiopian meant black, burnt faced people. I told you guys on the show last night. These light Ethiopians don't even. The term Ethiopian meant burnt faced people, black. So you being a mixed breed in this fake hair you got in your head, you're not an Ethiopian. But you change the name from Abyssinia to Ethiopia. Ethiopians would be Michelle's husband up there in Sudan. That was called ancient Kush, ancient Ethiopia. That's ancient Ethiopia, not Ethiopia you see there above Kenya. That's Abyssinia. And so those light-skinned people want to reclassify themselves as Ethiopian. Hey, moron. The very term Ethiopia means black. So Joby would be an Ethiopian. I would be an Ethiopian, not you. Very term means Ethiopian, means black.
I remember someone in Tanzania was telling us that actually. This reminds me, most of the Tanzanian people do know history for sure. Because I remember they were saying like, you look like you come from the line of the Ethiopians because these are black people. So I was like looking at him like, what are you saying? Because I didn't understand what he was saying, you know?
Yeah, not the Ethiopians you see up there, they them mixed like white looking up. Yeah, Ethiopians, Joby, are African, black. That's what the term means. The Greeks named black people Ethiopians, said the burnt face. Ethiopia means burnt face people. They called us the burnt face people, the dark people, burnt face. That's what Ethiopia.
I remember you're still the same person who was saying that today Ethiopians hate being black. Rather, they kind of hate other people, you know, if they are black.
Yes, because those are mixed people. We see Ethiopians on, as Spike showed you, when you look at I'm on the plains, they're not black people. Those are mixed Italian people. Those are not black people you see. Those are not Ethiopians. See, but you're not knowing history, and they know you've been made ignorant. And since out to the guy Tanzania told you, Ethiopian, that meant black, Joby. The very term means black. That's what it means. The very term means burnt-faced people. That's what the term Ethiopian means from the Greeks. These are the burnt-faced people, not light skin.
as historians
Go ahead.
relate, were the first of all men, and the proofs of this statement, they say, are manifest, for that they did not come into their land as immigrants from abroad, but were natives of it, and so justly bear the name of autochthons, is, they maintain, conceded by practically all men. Furthermore, that those who dwell beneath the noonday sun were, in all likelihood, the first to be generated by the earth, is clear to all. Since inasmuch as it was the warmth of the sun which...
He said the African is the original. So you can't worship anybody white. This is the natural state of being. Black. It's the natural state of being. So the Greeks will tell you, goddamn, these Africans are here first. They're the ones create civilization. They're the first people. So there's no, and the black woman being the absolute first. So there's no you worshiping anybody white. That's why history is so important that you learn these things. You wouldn't worship anybody white. White people showed up 2 days ago. Like, where the fuck did these white people come from? They just got on the planet 2 days ago and you worshiping these people because you don't know history no more. Worship nobody white. Are you crazy? Motherfucker just showed up here 2 days ago. He's your God? Hell no. Cracker just showed up 2 days ago. Go ahead.
At the generation of the universe, dried up the earth when it was still wet, and impregnated it with life. It is reasonable to suppose that the region which was nearest the sun was the first to bring forth living creatures. I find it fascinating that a Greek scholar came to a similar conclusion as we did concerning the origin of humans. placing them on the African continent. Echoes of this narrative survived into more modern times. One of the most popular Orientalists, known today as the general title Middle Eastern Studies, was a man named Constantine de Volney of the 18th century. Here's what he has to say. We have the strongest reasons to believe that the country neighboring to the tropic Sudan in southern Egypt was the cradle of the sciences, and of consequence that the first learned nation was a nation of blacks. For
Yeah,
it is incontrovertible that by the term Ethiopians,
yeah.
the ancients meant to represent a people of black
A
complexion,
black.
thick
Pause that.
lips, and
Pause
woolly.
that. Term Ethiopia meant the people are black. That's what the term means, Joby. Black.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the term. You look at Ethiopia, they say a bunch of half-looking crackers. Those are not Ethiopians. The term Ethiopia means black. Shit's crazy. So then when they come over talking that bullshit to me, I told them, I'll break your back. I'll hurt your feelings. You're not even Ethiopian. I'll pull up the definition and show it to your face. Kenyans are Ethiopians. Some of the original Ethiopians that you're oppressing Ethiopia and Sudanese. Ethiopia just means black people, but you're not, and you don't claim to be black, so you can't be Ethiopian. Isn't that funny? You say you're not black, but that's what Ethiopia means. Right there, just tell you right there in the thing. That's what it means. It means black. That's what it means.
They're in denial, and it's because of lack of history. That is lack of history, and also maybe ignorance. We can call that.
Nah, it's the mulatto fucked up thing in the head. They you don't know it.
I used to ask myself, because I think I've also gone to school with some Ethiopians. I used to ask myself, why is it that they have long hair? And you look at the male version of some Ethiopian men, they are dark in a good way. So I was like, what is the difference between these two people? You find that most of them are mulatto and the other ones
Exactly.
are dark.
You got the rich, but the other ones are mixed with Italians who had conquered them, Joby. Those are the mulattoes that run the country. And they're not really Ethiopians. They're mixed. They're mulattoes. The dark-skinned ones are your real Africans. Those are the ones that are being oppressed by these mulattoes. These are the ones that are oppressing them and saying, we're not black, we're Ethiopians. Motherfucker, that's what Ethiopian means, you moron. You're not an Ethiopian because you're not black, stupid. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Continue this one.
Despite what our perspective is today, people in ancient times and even some of the earliest observers concluded that humanity's oldest civilizations and people were Africans. It's important to note that this perspective was only recently challenged. I think if we use this ancient perspective and the perspective proposed by de Volney, we can certainly see the beginning stages of how African people came to be viewed as a threat, because the implications of being the oldest human people possessing the oldest civilizations is obvious. The second reason why African people may have been viewed as a threat plays on the previous ancient model. Because of the narrative advanced by ancient writers and their modern contemporaries, a primordial fear of genetic annihilation inevitably developed. So the thought process.
Genetic annihilation, knowing that we got the strongest genes. Like I told you, people are scared because we can annihilate anybody genetically because the African is the original. That's why I said, and that's why the black woman has the most superior gene because she's the original of the original. That's why I said they use her genes to create these other motherfuckers. They didn't come from us. They didn't. Everybody black turned into some Chinese man walking around Asia, or turned some Caucasian. That's baloney. That's the shit they want to tell. Then nobody just turned. Then no black woman walking to Europe became a white woman. Nah, sorry, no.
Not the recessive genes.
They got in the snow, and the black women and black people's genes just became recessive because of the snow. But I mean, it's nothing that's a lie, made up. It's a lie. But go ahead.
This could possibly be the following. If these Africans are the oldest humans who possibly spread throughout the planet, then humanity can easily go back to its original African mold. Even though it may sound odd, this was a thread of thought in the psychology of the one-drop rule, which pretty much stated that if anyone had one drop of African blood,
They were
then
black.
they have corrupted the non African blood and therefore should be considered black or Negro. It seems clear that this idea was developed to identify African ancestry in whatever color or phenotype it came in. This identification would then lead to oppressing that individual, keeping them in the same denigrated state as other black people, so that they would not have to compete economically,
Exactly.
socially, politically, and
Keep them
especially
oppressed.
genetically.
Keep them
However, this idea of
keeping them oppressed and impoverished. Right. What you do with African people, you keep them. You're right, guy. Keep them oppressed, stupid, and impoverished. Correct.
genetic annihilation was not present amongst all European ethnic groups. In Latin America, for example, the Spanish and the Portuguese seemed to have children with their enslaved African women and even claim them, creating a new class and ethnicity. These individuals, for the most part, had privilege and access to the goods and services the society could offer. This
These
also
mulattoes,
seems to be true amongst the Arabs to
Mm-hmm.
a degree. The Arab slave trade was just as brutal and dehumanizing as the Atlantic slave trade, and they
damn
certainly
right.
had children with enslaved African women. Some of these children navigated the world as an Arab because they adopted the identity and the culture of their Arab father in full. Some of the Moors reflected this reality of Arab and African parentage.
You remember? I remember Spike talking yesterday of the
You're gonna
mothers
move.
of slavery might have originated from the Arabs. I
Yeah.
remember yesterday Spike
You're
talking
talking
about it.
about the white Arab. Yeah, because exactly the white Arab. We're talking about how they took African women because the original Arabs are black. See all these things. See, that's the jealousy. They want to be the Hebrews. The original Hebrews are black because black people were the original people everywhere on the planet. So when white people come, you start miscegenating, and they thought just because we were rulers that these children would reflect the power of African people. No, they always undermine African people. That's why you don't make no fucking mulattoes. It's always they're dangerous. And that's how you lost Africa. Shout out to Dr. Chancellor Williams. All these mulattoes also in Africa. How you lost Africa too. How you start losing power. The miscegenation. Told you that's why these fucking half-breed Ethiopians are so damn disrespectful. The miscegenation, because you put, and I'm going to tell you that no one will tell you, because you put the animal genetics in your gene pool. That's why. That's why they could enslave and beat and whip women and all this, because you put the animal genetics. These people are mixed with animals, so they got the animal mindset. Well, you got a human mindset. That's how deep this goes. And you put the animal genetics within your gene pool when you slept with these motherfuckers and have these half-breed, off-breed kids. And they're vicious. That's what you did.
But again, identifying in full with a non African father. But at the same time, many Arabs perpetuated the culture of eunuchs among their enslaved Africans,
Yeah, they cut their penises
seemingly
off.
to rid themselves of that genetic threat. So there
Exactly.
does seem to be some duality there.
I mean, eunuchs means when they took African men, Joby, they cut all their penises off. That's what a eunuch is.
What?
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, see, I know he didn't explain that to you. Eunuch means these no good white Arabs took these Africans, cut their penises off. That's what a eunuch is. They cut all their penises off.
Why?
Because, like you
And
told
what were they
you,
using?
they told you because of genetic annihilation. They wanted to make sure they didn't breed that black genetics back in. As they were breeding out, becoming more whiter, they didn't want any Africans to breed that genetic back in. They know your genetics are the strongest. So you would take out the animal. When you got an animal, it's going to be an animal now. Going to self-preservation. So they, exactly right, horrible. You know, yeah, no, Joey didn't know what a eunuch meant. She didn't mean that meant castration, cut your dick off. So I knew. He didn't explain it. He just said eunuch. Eunuch means they castrate them, Joey. They cut all the black men's dicks off. That's what it means.
Jesus. You're crazy.
All in all, the idea of Africans posing a genetic threat did not apply to all, but was unique to some non-African groups with imperial power. Our final threat seems to come from the fact that the African continent holds so many resources,
All the
and
riches.
these resources ultimately translate into wealth. It's
The
no
wealth.
secret that many modern day nations want to control the resources coming out of Africa, and they
Yeah.
do a good job at it. This was certainly true in ancient and medieval times. I think the Arabs were well aware of this when they first encountered the Ghana and Mali empires.
Empire.
Muslim writers spoke about what they heard from the merchants who traveled to Ghana and
How
its
rich it
adjacent
was.
civilizations. It is no exaggeration to say that the Arabs were very impressed with the wealth of the Ghana Empire. The first writer to mention the Ghana Empire was an astronomer named Al-Fazari shortly after the year 800 AD. He referred to the Ghana Empire literally as the land of gold. A century later, Ibn Hakel described the king of Ghana as the richest sovereign on earth, for he possesses great wealth and reserves of gold that have been extracted since early times to the advantage of former kings and his own. Ibn Hakel also writes in his description of Sijumasa concerning its trade across the Sahara and with Ghana. I saw a bill in Adugas certifying a debt owed to one of them of the people of Sijumasa by one
Understand
of
this.
the traders of Adugas.
When they're talking about Ghana, they're not talking about the Ghana you know today. That's not ancient Ghana. Ghana, you know, they're talking about Ghana, which became Mali. Ghana is the Mali Empire, became Sun God. That's part of Senegal, Mali. That's the Ghana. That was Ghana back then, Joe. But that's not the Ghana you think today. Okay, you understand that. That's not Ghana wanted to change the name to that ancient Ghana name, but that's not ancient Ghana. Ancient Ghana is Mali. But you see Mali today, that's Ghana. That's ancient because it changed its name from Ghana from Ghana to change the name to Mali, then from Mali to Songhai. So the Mali, it was the Ghana Empire first, Mali Empire, and then it became the Songhai Empire. Same empires, just different names.
Was himself of the people of Sijumasa, and the sum of 42,000 dinars. I have never seen or heard anything comparable to this story in the East. I told it in Al-Arak, in Fars, and in Khorasan, and everywhere it was regarded as a novelty. As Sheikh Ante Job says, Africa was so distinguished in the world for its legendary wealth that it led the Arabs to say, against the camel's mange use tar, and against poverty make a trip to the Sudan.
Exactly.
This speaks volumes as to.
And they talking about Dr. Sheikh Anta Diab. Remember I told you guys, and I had Joe and him on the show Saturday morning for them. I told you it was Dr. Sheikh Anta Diab said it was going to be us who had to go back in and teach the family. We had to go back in Africa because the knowledge had been so lost in Africa. They've been dumbed down through colonialism so bad that they didn't know Africa anymore. So it's going to be us in the West. The diaspora, we're going to have to go back into Africa and teach our African brothers their history. And what he said is like, was no like I said, was no poverty in Africa. So wealthy, so rich. You don't see that today. It's nothing but poverty in Africa. But I want Africans to know you live in the richest continent on the planet. You didn't live in poverty, as the white man told you. He came to save you. He came to steal from you because it's rich. It always was written about it being rich, not poor. Nobody goes to steal from a poor man. Hey, you poor, let me steal your shit. They go steal from people who are rich.
That is true.
How Africa was perceived. Everyone who knew about its wealth wanted a piece of it. As we can see, the Arabs encouraged it, making a proverb out of it. And Mansa Musa's visit to Cairo, displaying his vast wealth and power, certainly oohed and awed, but it simply gave more reason to heighten fears of a black planet, if you will, because everyone knew that access to wealth and resources consolidates and increases power, period. And whoever owns it controls it. And it's clear that Africans were deemed as the owners, first from the Arab perspective and later the European. This was indeed a fatal combination for Africans who were seemingly more interested in other forms of capital rather than world domination. And so This history paints an interesting picture of why Africans and their descendants may be viewed as a threat. The early narrative of Africans being the first humans,
That's an
the
African man.
limited yet ever
That's an African man, not no white people that you see up there today. That's why Napoleon blew the nose off. Because Egypt was African civilization, not what you see up there today. The Africans built those pyramids, African men and women. Not no slaves, because there wasn't no Hebrews and slaves and all that shit. See in the fake movies. Wasn't no Hebrews even existed on the planet back then. So there's a thing of jealousy as well. Because you're the first people. You're the first. You can't teach nobody. Once you invent writing, you can't reinvent it. Once you teach mathematics, you're the inventor of it. So all the sciences came from you. It's a jealousy and an anger, and it's also the African, like you said, didn't want to dominate people. We wanted to make them, hell, we'll share some wealth with you motherfuckers. That's what Mansa Musa did. And Mansa Tark, I remember what Spike said, Mansa Tark, he went out just giving people gold. Here, you bum ass, dirty white hair, take some gold, stupid. Take some gold. Take some gold. He was just giving out gold. They're like, goddamn, we got to go kill these goddamn niggas and get this gold. We got to get this Africa. We got to go, real stories, not the fake Solomon shit in the Bible. Real story, real life. Like, we got to get to Africa and get the, and funny, Mali, at that time, the richest kingdom on the planet. Now Mali's impoverished. You know why? Because the white man's got control of Mali.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, shall we finish it up?
present idea of genetic annihilation, and finally, perceived advantage of immediate access to wealth and resources made Africans a threat to their neighbors, the Arabs and the Europeans, both of which took action as soon as they could. I believe this is why there was so much pushback against Pan-African movements and economic powerhouses like Black Wall Street and others.
Exactly. There was a pushback to have every Africans unite. That's a no-no. Exactly. Pushback. No, you niggas supposed to hate each other. We put more tribalism in here. You hate each other, never unite. They get hypersensitive, dude, when they talking about unite African people, because that's the wealth of the world. African starts controlling Africa again. He's not impoverished. He's wealthy again. He's rich.
This reminds me of how I've grown up hearing many African people say Mzungu is the most clever person, not knowing that all this mind came from the African. Men have grown up listening to people saying Mzungu is the most clever person in the world. The most. I so swear that is what I've grown up listening to. The Mzungu, because of the caste, because of what they have invented. All the information came from Africa. It is so this is so sad. This is so sad to see that people never knew this. I would say people don't know this because I also never knew any of all this. It is so sad.
Well, tell your cousin. Joby knows.
People of African descent all across the globe can consolidate a unified identity. They can then become owners again. Anyway, guys, like I mentioned before, this is just my own personal analysis of
you got
world
that
history.
right, guys. Your personal thing. I'll mention that. As the African unifies and understands who his enemy is through history. That's why you're not taught history, Joby. It's not a accident. You're not just you. Why you think the Nigerians? I told you when I went back to Africa, they didn't know no history. I was like, God damn. Africa. Man, that's what I'm in Africa, Joby. And don't nobody know African history. I'm like, God damn. So imagine how messed
I can just imagine I remember when you were giving us the story of when someone asked you which tribe are you, and you were like, what? Because that is what in every African country, that is what, if you go anywhere, which tribe are you? Where are you coming from? Which tribe are you?
I like tribe. I'm like, what? I don't know about no tribe. I don't know what you're talking about.
What is that?
Brother, you don't know your tribe? You pretty ignorant. I don't know no tribe.
Yeah,
I'm
say
African.
you're ignorant.
Yeah,
They say you are ignorant.
we
Even up
don't.
to date.
And we
I remember
don't.
me growing up saying that I don't know mother tongue. People used to say, why don't I know mother tongue? You know, my parents are irresponsible for not making me know mother tongue. I'm like, what? Is it a must? You know, I've
No.
always asked myself, is it a must?
Ask
It's
them
not a must.
what's the mother tongue got their ass? Absolutely nothing. Then when you go back and understand that the mother tongue is a phony tongue because Swahili's older than those languages. So it means you were together before you spread off and became these other mother tongues. Swahili's older than your tongue. Older. It's an older language. I've proven that. So Swahili's more important than your mother tongue, moron. But you don't know history. You don't know, know that. I'm like, listen here. Man, get out of here with that mother tongue shit. I'm one of those saying also you say I'm jealous. I'm jealous when I hear you and Katie speaking Swahili so good. I'm jealous. I'm not there's no damn English. I'm like, you girl, get away from me, girl. You don't know English? You don't know the colonizer's language? Fuck that. I want to know. I'm jealous when I see you guys down Tanzania doing your Swahili. Man, I was like, God damn it, shit.
That is, Keith has just made a confession.
Good. Yeah. Like when Katie was telling the driver, Katie can hear me tell the driver about how expensive the place was. I'm trying to tell the judge. She said, Mina pesa, blah, 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 pesa, whatever. I'm trying to tell the driver about how much of these places. He said they're pretty expensive. I said, God damn you. No, that. God damn it.
That is a confession.
Because I know the history of Swahili and history of Africa. So it makes me jealous of not knowing. Most Africans don't know their history. So, oh, that's just Swahili. Motherfucker. Swahili's ancient, you moron. English is a new language, stupid. New. It is nothing more than bastardized German. It's a very low vibrational language, stupid. But you not knowing history, the white man's language is English, moron. I'm jealous. I don't know Swahili, goddammit.
Don't worry, you learn. You will learn.
Honestly, you know, so I always never feel upset by knowing Swahili. It's an ancient Swahili takes you back in the Kemet, Joby. Takes you back. We see them pyramids. Swahili goes back to that. So the ancestors were speaking that language, or versions of that language. That's how old and precious Swahili is. That's how old and precious it is. But if you knew, the African hasn't been taught that. Oh, that's just Swahili. That thing. I know French. I know French and English. Hey, moron, do you know French is a bastardized version of German? English is a bastardized version of German. Do you know that, moron? So you know what you're talking about. Swahili goes back before the language even existed, stupid. That's why they're jealous of it. You crazy? Like I said, what I did do some damn. I want to be able to dream in Swahili, damn it.
You will.
I don't want to dream in English. I want to dream in Swahili.
You will, but family, are coming to the end of today's broadcast. Much love. Thank you so much.
Stop her singing in Swahili. Knock it off.
You will, and even start eating in Swahili. There is even how Swahilis do eat.
Africans are the brightest, right? Exactly. That's what Joby said, but that's what they've been told. They don't know that they're the smartest people. Everybody else knows it, but the African doesn't know that anymore, Joe. It's been proven genetically that the African is the smartest person on the planet. That's a proven fact for the African. Mzungu's clever. He's smarter than you. He's smarter than you, and he's God. And he's God.
Mzungu is
He's smart, and he's God. The recessive genetic that I don't know nothing about. He's God.
But much love, family. Thank you so much, Keith, for joining us and for sharing your history. I hope that you've also learned something from that video.
That's your history just played. That's your history. That's African history. That's your history. That's your history. That's your history.
Much love, family. Remember to join Kate.
So
Mhm.
guess what you're not no more, Joby. You're not fearful.
Yeah,
But more
I'm
knowledge,
not.
fearful. Oh,
I'm not fearful.
no. You
I'm
got more.
not.
You're not fearful.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I'm
what
not
now.
even scared of the. You know, before I used to be scared of the policemen every time I used to see them, even without a mask or anything. But right now, come try attack me. I'll show you. Come try it. Come try me.
Look,
But much love, family.
you're confident. Back where the African used to be. So we got to get the Africans' confidence back to that. The Africans'
Mhm.
confidence has been shattered with lies and everything else. So
Sure.
knowing your history, you're good to go. You're rich
Mm-hmm.
people. You have a rich history.
Mm-hmm.
You're from a rich people. You're from a mighty, loving, rich people. Where you from?
Mm-hmm.
Much love, family. I'll come back and I'll bother Katie. I'll knock Katie in the mouth.
Yeah.
Get this equipment, Katie.
But much love, family. Thank you so much, Sister Michelle. Thank you, Jewel, and to the rest of the family who have been watching and listening to us. Thank you, Keith, as well, for giving us this broadcast.
Carrie
This
Booney.
really helps a lot.
Carrie Booney
This
Sana,
I was saying it is almost a year since I came to the Blackout Fire, and my life has really changed. Not only physically, but also mentally. I've really learned so much. It's now down a year since I came here, and I'm just so grateful for being part of this.
Carrie Booney Sana family. Carrie Boo.
Karibuni sana.
That's right, goddammit. Carrie Boo something. Carrie Boo something. Shit, I'll figure it out. Carrie
No,
Boo
you're supposed to say asanteni sana, asanteni, thank you, asanteni.
That was Asante Sana. Asante.
You will learn. You sure will learn. But much love, family.
Asante Sana.
The girl them see we young and them a scream. Oh my God! Love just like a fire cash. Them on the paper traces like 100-meter dash. Up on the stage because the works them a fever. And so the cameras are flash.